Lot of young people are dying all over the world, especially in this post-COVID period. But why? Their age group starting from 25 onwards up to 50 years of age, lot of people died. We'll only come to know when celebrity dies. For example, in this slide you can see lot of people who are all celebrities, actors, bodybuilders, trainers, and many of them like this die every day across the globe while performing their duties. The question comes, why? 20 years ago, people used to die of heart attack, especially in a 60 to 70 years age group. So this variation of death occurrence among humans is quite different from time to time. But now, these pictures you can see how these young people who are all exercising people, they died all of a sudden. It's very heartbreaking to their parents, colleagues, friends, to whole society. We are in a grip of fear whether I am going to die. That is a problem. Today, in this video, we will discuss important points about death among young people. Death mostly occurs due to sudden cardiac arrest. Cardiac arrest means nicely functioning heart suddenly stops. When heart stops, there is no blood supply to brain, liver, kidney, and many organs of the body. In fact, heart muscle itself does not get blood supply during heart attack. And more so it is seen among young athletes, middle-aged performers. Mind it, this is all without a valid, solid reason. Let us look at athletes. Normally every 2 to 3 days, one young athlete dies all over the world. And number one cause of sudden death during exercise is cardiac arrest, heart stopping by itself. But why? And many a times, there is no warning. While playing middle of the play, they suddenly die and they collapse. And if you don't perform life-saving measures immediately, athlete will die. Or even if they survive, they may land up with a serious brain damage and sequelae of brain damage. 2 to 6 people in every 100,000 young athletes experience a sudden cardiac arrest all over the world. And many times we have seen these people die sometime after exercise. So let us go into details. What are the causes known to medical sciences? There are many underlying causes like genetic causes. Genetic causes, that means developmental anomalies, defects in our heart and circulatory system may precipitate a sudden death. Or they could be a very solid known medical reasons. But large number of population are dying because of lifestyle causes. And primarily, the sleep is a major cause of sudden death. My dear viewers, please make a note. Lack of sleep is your passport to death. Stress. Stress is widely exploited subject. There are a lot of trainers. There are a lot of programs for stress management for industries. Unfortunately, industry cannot manage your stress. And managing stress is not important. Coping to stress is important. And third most important reason, lifestyle reason, is nutrition. Every Tom, Dick and Harry advises about nutrition. There is one person who is intermittent fast. He gives you naturopathy diet. A large number of population reach to him. One accountant, he provides protein-rich diet. One agriculture scientist, he promotes millet diet. None of these people ever examine human body. They do not understand physiology of human body. You ask them what is the cardiac output, what is the stroke volume, how to read ECG. They don't know, but they want to give you a diet. No wonder People are getting succumbed to nutritional malpractices. And lastly, there are unknown causes. COVID. Yes, COVID is known to cause vascular problems. A lot of people died because of thrombosis. And another important reason which we forgot is microwave radiation. Whole house is being irradiated with Wi-Fi, railway stations, airports, offices, everywhere you are surrounded by 1 to 1.5 gigahertz of microwave radiation sometimes. A good Android phone, in its peak performance, it emits 1.5 gigahertz of radiation. It can raise the temperature by 1 degree centigrade. And last but most unmeasurable hazard is chemical, bathroom cleaners, room cleaners, your perfumes, deodorants, cleaning materials. Everywhere you see nowadays perfume and perfume and perfume. Our whole environment is flooded with chemicals. Exhaust from motor vehicles, exhaust from aircrafts, exhaust from industries, of course, they are very less. And human and nature produced air pollution. All these can be indirectly a cause of death. Let us go into more details. Let us look at the genetic causes of heart disease and which can precipitate a sudden heart death, which can precipitate a sudden death. Hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. It is a heart disease characterized by very big heart size. Bigger the size, less efficient it is. Medium size with stronger muscles can have a good function, but the bigger the heart it is, it becomes like a balloon. So that's why hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, a genetic devastating heart disease. But it occurs in very, very small percentage of people. But with this underlying disease, without being checked, you run a marathon, you're likely to die. Coronary artery abnormalities. Coronary arteries are very, very small blood vessels which supply blood to the heart muscle for its functioning. Blood means oxygen and nutrients. If these have abnormalities, smaller artery, abnormally placed artery, some branches are not developed, all these can land up a person in a sudden cardiac arrest leading to death when that person exercising extremely. Arrhythmogenic diseases. There is a regular rhythm. If rhythm is disturbed, we call it arrhythmia. If electrical conductivity is not in the right ventricle, that is the right chamber of the heart, we call it right ventricular cardiomyopathy. Because of this, heart may not beat properly. There are other electrical conduction syndromes, long QT syndrome. See, how does heart muscle beats? There is electrical supply. That's how we record this supply through ECG. So these abnormalities can put a heart into sudden cardiac arrest. Head injuries. We are all aware of severe head trauma can lead to internal injuries and brain function may stop. They may die or land up as paralytic patients, very commonly seen in hospitals. Cervical spine injuries. Imagine there are a lot of nerve supply to the heart and lungs. Other sympathetic and parasympathetic systems are related and they develop around the neck region. That's why the neck injury can cause not only lack of nerve supply but can lead to cardiac arrest, breathing difficulty. That's why mostly a lot of cervical spine surgeries sometimes put patients into a trouble. Environmental factors, heat stroke can kill a person instantly. Asthma, untreated asthma, or anaphylaxis, reaction to certain drugs. Enormous number of genetic and medical causes I have discussed in this slide. Not so difficult to identify but not every person had to undergo a very detailed checking, but definitely trying to be aware of this is very helpful. Some stories are important to understand why people died at very young age. A great marathon runner, a very great performer, Mr. Ranjan Das, story there, everywhere in the net. Ranjan Das, CEO of SAP, computer company for Indian subcontinent, died at very young age. He was not obese, he was not diseased, but he died suddenly one day after coming from a gymnasium. Lot of bodybuilders, weightlifters, or people who are trying to do everything to develop their muscles also died during COVID. Such a great performer died. Lot of investigation revealed that Mr. Ranjan Das, probably he slept only for 4 to 5 hours a day. Sleeping less than 6 hours can put you into very serious trouble. So let me explain you. Because sleeping is a time when body recovers. All chemicals recover, tissues get repaired, and nervous system gets recovery time. Muscles will be loaded with glycogen to get ready for another bout of physical exercise. So 5 to 6 hours or less can increase your blood pressure 350 to 500%. And this is not a sustained blood pressure. This is a fluctuating blood pressure. It can just peak up 200%. It can go from 120 to 190 and come back again. These sudden fluctuations in blood pressure can put cardiovascular system into serious trouble and person may die. And this risk is extremely high in young people, 25 to 50 years. And there is a threefold increase of risk of heart attacks. Let us also examine their chemistry. The first most important chemical change in the body, C-reactive proteins increase. These are actually have an extreme effect on heart and cardiovascular system. And there are also studies have proved even just lack of one night full sleep can increase interleukin 6, IL-6, tumor necrosis factor alpha, C-reactive protein, and there are many other factors. They all increase just one night of lack of sleep. We can very well imagine that people who do not sleep for days and days can have these chemicals raised in their blood, circulating all over the body, damaging various tissues. On the long run, these lifestyle negative habits can increase risk for cancer, arthritis, and other heart diseases. Especially when your sleep is less than 5 hours, your risk is 39%. But your sleep is around 6 hours and less, it is 18%. But if you can sleep 7 to 8 hours, this risk is almost minimal. So sleep is a real panacea of life. And this is the reason why a lot of high performers die and older athletes. All these photos you have seen, they are bankers, they are business people, they are CEOs who died of heart attack, some committed out of anxiety into suicide, and a lot of problems all over the world. These are only few pictures I have shared. What is the solution? This word everybody speaks everywhere. Work-life balance, work-life balance. But we are ultimately encountering work-life imbalance. Just see this picture of a lady. She's standing on a rope, baby in one hand, other hand, there are a lot of responsibilities. On her feet, balancing her job. She is really balancing her imbalances of life. To enumerate, what is the passport to hell? Working more than 100 hours a week. Sleeping less than 6 hours. Please make a note. Working more than 100 hours a week, sleeping less than 6 hours. Definitely it's a passport to hell. Medical profession cannot save you. The so-called high intensity exercise, people are thinking more muscle is only more health. Sad. As I told you, India number 1, 2, 3, up to 6 numbers of all bodybuilders, best physique showers, they all died during COVID. Why? Because they have a lot of underlying problems which they were practicing during these high intensity exercise programs. If you have a high volume and more intensity, exercise may put you in trouble. If you don't know how to breathe during exercise, you may land up with a physiological difficulty known as a Valsalva maneuver. Uncontrolled Valsalva maneuver can put heart into trouble. You are exercising, but again night till 3 o'clock you are awake, and next day morning you are going for exercise session, you are a candidate to die. Work-rest ratios. Work-rest ratios. The more you work, the better recovery period you require. If you keep on working and working and working without recovery, body will say, sorry boy, I cannot work anymore. And one note to coaches, trainers, I have been with the national teams, local teams, young children, everywhere. Coach doesn't have a periodization table in his pocket. If you are a badminton player, your coach should give you one slip of complete 1 month training, what he is planning to do. At the same time, he should also have a complete training program in his pocket, like a how school and classroom timetable. If you don't have a timetable, you do whatever you wish to do on the spot decision, then it can cause catastrophe. Mind it, there is no high intensity exercise. Intensity is all planned intensity exercise program. Breathing has to be learned from very younger age group when they do strength training. They should understand what is the role of recovery. When you make a periodization plan, every week 1 day break, every month 2 days break, every quarterly 4 days break, every 6 months 1 week break, after the competition couple of days break. If you don't break, when does body recover? You have to give a break to your training. So please mind it, don't put your players in trouble. What happens during strength exercises in the body? Although it may be a scientific jargon, I will simplify it. People who already have some diseases like cardiomyopathy or abnormal coronary arteries, some heart valves are not functioning, some aortic artery disease, some channels are dead, electrical channels, or some WP White syndrome like diseases, commercio cordis, all these underlying causes normally very difficult to check. That's why a coach should observe an athlete. Is he getting tired? Is he feeling any palpitation? Is he not getting adequate sleep after exercise program? If these underlying problems are there is a sympathetic surge. That means adrenaline, noradrenaline, cortisol, all these hormones raise in the blood substantially higher than normal days. And they can cause a tightening of blood vessels in the heart disease. A myocardial ischemia, there is a lot of oxygen supply is abrupted and there are a lot of circulatory changes in the body. All these can cause cardiac arrest. This slide explains a medical reason why cardiac arrest happens if you don't follow correct regime of strength training or if you don't screen your athlete when you are in doubt. So that's why you must have a medical history. Gone are those days, you can just see from outside and send him to a sport. At least once you check your player by a competent medical doctor. Not required a senior cardiologist, a sports physician. A normal senior physician can check once at least. Any history of chest discomfort, shortness of breath, anytime you felt giddy, or family members below 50 years, many people died of heart attack in a particular family. There is a very strong family history of genetic heart disease. At least one simple ECG is required for all players who go before their sports. At least once in 2-3 years, one 2D echocardiogram, a scan of heart, will tell you how the valves are there, how the muscle beating is there. You will make out a lot of structural anomalies. Then only you, after this screening, consider a serious cardiologist for further management. Warning signs should not be forgotten. Fainting, passing out during exercise. He ran and then he falling down. If that same thing happens twice, that means the person has definite underlying disease or risk factor. Chest pain with exercise, very serious indication, because most often when you exercise, the blood is not adequate to supply to the heart muscle. So what happens? Heart cries in pain. That only we call it angina. Excessive shortness of breath is a very, very serious among all symptoms. Even a normal person without doing exercise also, every day you're walking 2 flights of stairs easily, but today you're not able to walk. That means you may have heart disease. Please check. Or seizures, fits, convulsions, anything related to chronic disorders of the brain, bipolar disorders, extreme anxiety personalities, or somebody on medical treatment for mental disease for a long time. All these people should be under warning flag because they may land up in a cardiac arrest. That doesn't mean all of these people should stop. You should have a warning check on them. You can do low intensity exercise. I am not scaring you not to do exercise. Stress is an important issue which works behind your body. Let us understand what is stress means. Basically, it's nothing but a simple account. Debit and credit. You have too many demands on your body. You have lesser resources in your body. Also in your mind. You have 2 hours to think and write, but you have only 1 hour available. So you'll have to overburden your brain. This is known as a stress response. Stress response results in a very, very serious reactions. Blood pressure may go high, sugar may go high, coronary arteries may prematurely contract, heart supply may cut down. There are many, many simple symptoms also experienced by people. Let me tell you the story of stress. You see this picture here. A hyena, a small baby deer here. Normally, at least 60% of the time, these predators, they fail in their hunting. Only 30 to 40% they get their prey. So they have to do literally a lot of hard work to get their food. Now look at on the other part. What happens in the mind of a deer which escapes the one hunting attempt by a hyena or a lion? This baby deer will plan a strategic program. First strategy, not to roam around where hyenas are there. It is also seen one deer which escapes from one good predator attack, it is never been hunted for the second time. Why? Because they have planned a strategic life afterwards. So this baby deer first plans not to roam around in the areas where hyenas are there. Secondly, be with the group so that you are sheltered. Thirdly, try to have an escape route nearby, very big bush or a water area where you can escape. That's how in the next attempt they rarely die. But what about human deer? You see a picture here. One lady executive, she had a problem with her boss. Although knowingly boss is always right, still we confront with bosses during various issues of our performance in our jobs. And then with vengeance to prove, you come back home and again carry work home. You neglect your children, husband or your wife and children. and you keep on working just to prove. But deer didn't do. What deer did? She escaped from attack from a boss and she enjoyed, made strategies how to work with the boss. But it is not happening with the humans. We are trying to prove all the time. Knowingly boss is right, you have to understand his language. You have to understand his needs. Or you have to understand his communication. That is a strategy of handling a boss. Otherwise you carry stress home or you carry stress to office. And that leads to chronic stress, which again creates similar situation in your body like when we do not have adequate sleep. There is a chemical change, there is a medical change in the body, there is a poor recovery, and it may lead to sudden death due to cardiac arrest. So what happens during this imbalance of stress, or you don't recover from stress? Firstly, all stress hormones will rise. The brain triggers stress hormones. Stress hormones actually trying to help you to fight against stress. They tighten your muscle, they increase your breathing rate to take more oxygen, they increase your balance of your body, they'll increase your heart rate so that blood supply goes to all parts of the body and all your glucose from your muscles flood into circulation because you need energy. And there is no circulation to muscle, all circulation is diverted to heart and cardiovascular system. Body shuts down. Very important things like growth, repair, digestion, recovery. Why do you think during stressful situation you have a gas, acidity, belching, constipation? Because your digestion is impaired and you don't recover. So my dear friends, you cannot avoid stress. You have to understand stress. You have to go through the stress. You have to increase your coping skills of stress. Very easy. First set is your anxiety. Second is your worry, depression, disease, premature death. Remember, anxiety is a very, very important first step of your stress. And the moment you feel you are anxious, you start treating yourself. Greater the waistline, shorter the lifeline. Do you know why we put on weight? Not because of lack of exercise. Because of food what we have eaten, either it is more in quantity, or it is irregular in timing, or it is not digested. South Indian eating North Indian food, North Indian eating South Indian food, Dravidian eating Aryan food, Aryan eating Dravidian food. All these food will not be digested, assimilated, will get converted into fat. And then you want to do faster weight reduction. They all cause metabolic stress internally to your body. Lack of correct occupation leads to stress. If you are very comfortable in your job, like Dr. Laila, who was a pediatric doctor, she served these children until 103 years of age. She had no stress from her occupation because she loved it. You have to do a job which you love, otherwise you will die. It will lead to cardiac arrest. I know many a time it's majburi, we have no choice, but still try to search, even if it is a lesser salary, even if it is not adequate to have all luxuries of life, but living is more important than luxury. So working lifelong with a more satisfied occupation can reduce effects of stress on your body. There are people who are living longer in the world. Sardinians, Okinawans, Adventists. Why are they living long? Firstly, their family is first. They don't smoke. Even they consume alcohol, only little bit of wine, just because wine is a habit. They are not drinking like Indians. 84% of whiskey of the whole world production is consumed by India. Each state is having something like 20 to 30,000 crore of alcohol budget. How will you survive, my dear? Starting from 10 years, everybody, both genders, ladies and men, children, everybody is drinking. And you want to live 100 years. Just forget about it. Reducing alcohol, stopping alcohol is very important. Eating in time, being actively whole day, not just going to gym for 1 hour. It's not enough. You have to be active. You should teach your children to carry towel to his bathroom. Not mother only, takes out the plates. Not mother only supplies the towel in the bathroom. Every child person should do his own day-to-day personal care activities by self. Having hobbies like gardening, painting, dancing, exercising in various modes, and eating your own food, native food, genetic food, not advised by a non-medical profession, not advised by a medical profession who has no knowledge in nutrition. Why army people, sportsmen are very healthy? Because army doctors, military doctors, sports doctors are definitely much better than all other medical fraternity in advising correct nutrition. So, to live long, nutrition is very, very important. Not to skip aerobic exercise. The moment you land up in a gym, building muscle is not going to make you live long. All the people who live long in this world are aerobic active people. Cyclists, long distance walkers, runners, long distance ultra swimmers, cross country runners. Why? Because body needs good cardiovascular system supported by good muscular system. So you do strength exercises, own body, light free weights, stretchable weights. If you want to go to gym, you like, go 2 days, 3 days a week. But not at the cost of aerobic outdoor activity. How to manage your stress? First know why you are getting stressed. Take a paper here. Don't go to psychologist. Don't go to a meditation baba. Don't go and sit in the temple. It is not going to help you. Stress is a management failure in your life. You need to do in a management methodology. Take a paper, write. Why I am feeling stress? Who caused stress? Then prioritize. If you have 3-4 stressors, prioritize. Which one is more important? Then plan a strategy. How to address this issue? Then have a goal. When to finish this problem? Then check how successful you are. This is management plan. If you want to have a personal management program, I am always available for you. Please come. Work-rest ratio. The more you work, the more you need rest. It's an engine. You cannot keep a engine on and parking your car in garage. No, it'll get heated up. It'll burn all your fuel. What happens actually? Lack of sleep and during stress, your energy is being consumed. Energy is nothing but a life. You see this lion after a good heavy meal, he sleeps for 16 hours. You can do surgery on the sleeping lion. And remember, sleep cannot be depleted. It is difficult to assess every athlete or a student, but understanding genetics with a history is possible. If somebody's father, uncle, and other family members died before 50 years, or extreme cholesterol accumulation in their family members, like total cholesterol more than 300, triglycerides more than 1000, then there is genetic reason for heart disease. Secondly, observe exercise and rest habits in people. Nowadays, with the advent of cell phone coming into our life, nobody is sleeping. Human body has only 24 hours in a day. You need to sleep at least 7 to 8 hours in these 24 hours. Observe all your sleeping habits. Keep always some life-saving aids like AEDs are basically automatic external defibrillators. These are basically electrical shock to give your heart when heart stops. Of course, basic life support CPR are very important, but AED can really revive the person, especially young people, if he has a cardiac arrest. Coaches, trainers, doctors, physiotherapists, and so-called other medical fraternity, alternative medicine doctors, everybody should know how to save life. What is the ratio between breathing and cardiac massage? Whom to hand over? When to hand over? After providing basic life support. All these things should be trained. Obese athletes or people who have more than 90 kilos of weight or people who have recovered from surgery, people recovered from disease, all these people need observation. Keep warning signs displayed in gymnasiums, on auditoriums, indoor sports halls. We need to save these healthy and strong athletes from cardiac arrest. We need to save these performing young people from cardiac arrest. I have not spoken about COVID because it's all controversial, whether COVID disease caused, COVID vaccine caused, COVID medication caused. We are not aware. Some of the medical fraternity feel some of these also can cause sudden cardiac arrest due to thromboembolism, blood clots in pulmonary arteries or veins. If you're playing, you get yourself screened. If you're already an athlete, follow strict work rest ratios. If you're a good performer, manage your sleep pattern. If you have a disease, manage it very, 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 very carefully. Take care of yourself. And all coaches, parents, teachers, trainers, medical fraternity, it is all our collective responsibility. Save our younger generation from this devastating sudden death. Thank you very much.